Here we go. All right. I I looked at your book and it was fine, by the way. But reflexology has all sorts of varying opinions around it, and all this kind of stuff, and so I want to give you my own presentation about it. So I'm derivating heavily from the book here, and I don't care. So this is an actual X-ray of my foot in high heels, and it's kind of fascinating. So feet are shaped like this. They actually have a curve this way, and believe it or not, they have a curve this way, just like my hand has a curve in here. So they actually have an arch this way and an arch this way. They're like a cup. And when they step, they go squish, squish, squish. They have to. If you think about it, the bones in your feet are very small. They're not like my femur. And yet when I jump up and down, they don't break. It's really impressive. And that's because they squish, because the bones are all wrapped in fascia. There's tendons and ligaments all over the place, and there's even plantar fascia underneath there, and they're all webbed in, and that gives them this kind of springy kind of effect. And the spring keeps them from breaking. We are going to get to reflexology here, but reflexology is about the feet, so we're heading there. When you wear high heels, by the way, I'm not against high heels, but when you wear them, if you look at this diagram, what happens is you take that arch away from the foot and you just ram the foot into the ground. It can't spring anymore. Now, they're a fashion statement because they make your leg look longer. They look great. But I bring them up because your clients that can afford to wear high heels, especially the red-bottomed ones, can afford to get a lot of massage. And their feet are a wreck. So the other thing that happens when you wear high heels all the time, what muscles get shortened when you're in a plantar flexion all the time? This is a picture of a plantar flexion. What muscles get shortened all the time? If you wear high heels all the time, and this does happen with some people who wear high heels all the time. Yes, Miss Monreal, what?
Well, I'm just going to guess because you said plantar flexion. Is it plantaris? Is that one on?
Yes, the plantaris, which is part of what muscle group?
The calf. I don't know.
Yes.
So
No, you do know it's the calf. So tell me the other two calf muscles.
Gastrocnemius and soleus.
Soleus. These muscles, if you wear, I don't mean when you go out tonight and you're wearing high heels one night, it doesn't matter. But if you are somebody that works at an office and you have to wear high heels every day for some reason, your soleus, plantaris, and gastrocnemius, which are found on the posterior side of your leg, the back of your leg, shorten. They literally shorten. And so those people that wear high heels a lot will definitely want their calves massaged and stretched. You would stretch them by doing a dorsiflexion, by the way, moving the foot the opposite direction. So it's just something to think about. Don't just think about the foot in this case. Again, this is not a treatise against high heels. It's just that your clients that can afford high heels can also afford really good massage, and they often have calf problems and foot problems from being in that very unnatural foot position. All right, so this is a picture of the arches of your foot, and I just did it with my hand. It really is just this concept that there's an arch this way and an arch this way. There's actually a roll here. My fingers are rolled this way. They're not flat. They're kind of rolled here. And your foot is too. A good foot is too. And this is the concept of how your foot works. Well, in order to make this arch work good, you have to have some springiness underneath here, and that's all the fascia underneath here. In fact, plantar fasciitis, which, what does itis mean?
Inflammation.
Inflammation, thank you. Inflammation, Ms. Harper. So it's inflammation of the plantar fascia, the fascia of the feet. is usually an overuse injury. Somebody's been running so much, boom, 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 and that's fine, but they don't rest enough. They run every day, or they're really overweight. When you're really overweight, what happens is your foot is always smushed out, and that's not good for it either. And that fascia gets tired. And fascia, by the way, is fairly avascular. What does avascular mean? Yes, Ms. Monreal.
Like no blood flow?
Yes, A means without blood flow. So it has blood flow, obviously it would be dead, but it has less blood flow than your muscles. So rubbing the bottom of the feet brings back blood flow to the plantar fascia and all the muscles under there, and it's very effective in foot health. Because this arch needs to stay springy. This arch needs to stay springy. I don't know if this is still true today, but I know people that were not drafted in the military because they were flat-footed. And the reason they didn't draft them is flat-footed people aren't good at marching long distances. Their feet don't spring well, and they don't handle it very well at all. And being flat-footed actually, it does not make you a great walker. Yes, Miss Monreal.
I don't know if this is true or not, but they say that if you're flat-footed, that if you just retrain the muscles in the arch and strengthen them, that should take care of it. But I've never, one, known anybody who's done that, and two, I could have benefited from it myself, but I don't bother to do it. So, do you know?
I don't. I love the way it sounds. I kind of feel, I think like you do about it. On the one hand, I'm like, it's soft tissue. You can retrain anything. Of course you can do that. But the other part of me says some things we're kind of born with. You know what I mean? And it's hard to retrain things, I think, that are just the way you're made. And being flat-footed is not a bad thing. It's a bad thing if you want to be a hiker, but it's not a bad thing necessarily, right? And so this concept that everybody has to have the same arch, everybody has to have the same stuff, look around the room, like we just all don't look the same. So I'm kind of with you. I don't know. I'm sure, by the way, strengthening exercises would help if you're having fallen arch kind of problems, but I don't know. I don't know how much effect, and I don't know anybody. You're right. I just have no evidence to go on either way. Sorry. Something I want you to all think about when you're massaging feet. Do I have a foot model in here? No, but I kind of do. Here's a foot, right? Does this look like any of your guys' feet? Not really. Most of us, when we rub a foot, we kind of rub it like this. Because there's skin that goes from here to here. And we rub the foot like this. What we forget is all this is meat under here. All this is muscle and stuff like that. And we tend to rub up here and go over the heel. I want you to start thinking about rubbing into the heel to get down to this deeper fascia. So yes, there's less meat out by the toes, but as you start going into the heel, there's more and more meat. You should be trying to run into the edge of the heel when you massage, getting into this really deep fascia, because this is where all the arch support muscles attach. Then go up over the heel. And by the way, look how small this heel is. Even the tiniest of you in this class have a much bigger heel. That's how much fascia goes around a heel. You should be trying to scrape that off the heel. You really, really can get into the feet, especially around the heel. You can go crazy on people's heels. And the reason I care about heels is because look at this picture. That's where all these arch support muscles anchor. So you should be trying to work the meat off the feet. Ooh. Yeah, work the meat off the feet for the client. It's a neat treat. For a massage you can't beat, work the meat off the feet. All right. Where's the rest of my PowerPoint? Detail. just ignore this for a second. By the way, this is an actual foot with skin removed. A dead person, obviously. That is the plantar fascia under there. Do you see how it webs out? All of that white stuff is fascia and tendons. Some of the stringy stuff's tendons, which is all connective tissue. It's all fascia. And that's where the foot gets its springiness. It is, Miss Stanley, it is gross and cool at the same time. You're absolutely right. But we show it to you because we want you to think about how gristly feet are and really get into them. You can also see how thick the fascia is coming back here to the heel. So I hope I'm not ruining anybody's breakfast. Yeah. Again, I want you to look at how much meat we miss on a regular massage. I drew this red line around this foot to show you this depth down here below that you can go to where all the important ligaments are for arch support. This is a real foot cross-section cut through the bone and the fascia to realize you can really get down into a foot, right? Please remember, the difference between a back rub and a therapeutic massage, between a foot rub and a therapeutic massage, between what you kind of do when you were a kid on your grandmother and what you do as a paid professional is usually depth and detail. Massage therapists get into places that people don't even know exist. We get more stuff done. Other people just rub, and it feels nice to be rubbed, you know, right? Dogs like to be rubbed and stuff like that. They like to be petted and scratched, but that is superficial work. Anybody can do that. You should be looking at the anatomy of the foot and really getting in there. Can you get into the foot? One of the reasons I like reflexology is because it forces people to pay attention to feet. Whether reflexology is a real thing or not, we'll get to that in a minute. I don't care because it forces people to pay attention to the feet, and they're very complex and there's a lot of depth to them. There's about that much depth right before the heel that people just don't even rub. They miss. It's all in here. And it's the most important part of the foot. Yes, Miss Bolotic.
I just had a question. So with rubbing the feet, sometimes feet are like really tough.
Yes.
What tools would you use to get deeper?
Yeah, no, it's a really good question. Okay, so let me show you. Let me see if I can get this skeleton up here. Bear with me, everybody. I'm going to adjust the thing. All right, let's see here. So, okay. So this is our client, right? And most of us, when we approach foot massage, we're down here with our thumbs doing this, and we're rubbing into the foot. That makes sense. You're at the end of the table, right? Try this. And by the way, I avoid lotion on the feet, Miss Bolotic, because once I have any slide on the feet, I can't do anything. So it sounds weird, but I actually don't use lotion on the feet because I don't want to be gliding a lot. I want to have a lot of control. So I've got my thumbs on this side. I'm working into a foot, right? A typical foot here. Hold on, there we go. Typical foot here. Do this. Turn this way. What have I done now? I've got 8 fingers here. I'm not using my thumbs at all. And I can actually pull back, and I can use all this strength this way, and I can work, and I can do this with somebody on the table. There's nothing weird about it. I'm just at the side of the table. They're behind me, and I'm working with these fingers. And this has a lot more power than my thumbs, and I don't blow up my thumbs that way. And I can peel, pull, push, dig with my fingers. It's one of my favorite ways of working the feet. So really good question. I recommend this is the tool you used instead of this tool. And you just go from this position to this position. It's very effective. And if I have to do I've had clients before where they're like, they like an hour of feet. Well, then I'm doing both positions. I'm switching back and forth because my hands get tired from certain things. But this is my most powerful position. And you can even grab across one side and pull the heel across this side, pull across this side. You can do all sorts of stuff with this. A lot more powerful. Miss Monreal, question?
Well, I do really love what you just said.
Good. So do I.
I guess depending. So what?
I said so do I.
Oh, okay. I thought you said so what.
No, sorry.
That's
No,
so
it was arrogant. It wasn't rude.
No, so I guess depending on why the person wants their feet rubbed, like if there's something wrong with them, I would totally see how your technique would be so beneficial. And then there's those other people who want you to put some lotion and just kind of put them to sleep. You know, they're not necessarily wanting you to work a bunch of stuff out, you know, so I can see the benefits of both, but I really like what you do, or at least what you were describing.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you said this. Can I debate you on this a little bit?
Absolutely.
Good, cool. All right, because I'm very opinionated on this. By the way, everybody, I want to pre-qualify my soapbox here in my debate with Miss Monreal. I'm not sure I'm right, but I'm very opinionated about this. I am convinced in massage therapy that 99.9% of the time, I admit that there are people this is not true, but I would say 1 out of 1,000. I would say this applies, I believe, to 999 people out of 1,000 want therapeutic work. I've heard many massage therapists say, oh, I know it was good massage, I know they like it because they fell asleep. That is never, in my opinion, the sign of a good massage. Now, it doesn't mean if somebody falls asleep on your table, you're doing a bad job. I don't mean that. But if I want to just relax, I will drink a glass of red wine and take a hot bath instead of paying somebody $100 to rub me. And you're right, Ms. Petrie, I have an obsession with feet too. But I think they want therapeutic work. Now, they might want it lighter than I would do it. That I totally get. But I actually think people don't really just want really light kind of lotion work done on their body. And they'll say stuff like, oh, it was relaxing. I totally get that. I believe that. And I believe they find it relaxing. But I believe if you add therapeutic work into that, they'll say, oh my God, that was even more than I expected. And I used to get clients all the time that would say, I want just a relaxing massage. And I'd say, are you telling me you want to just relax while you're on the table? Or are you telling me you want me to work out aches and pains so you feel relaxed for days afterwards? And they'd say, oh, every time. They'd be like, oh, yeah, actually, that's totally true. I don't really care about what happens on the table. Like, I don't want to relax for an hour. I want to feel relaxed long afterwards. And I just really caution against, think about when you go to get pedicures and stuff. Yes, it's nice when they do this, but who do we all like? We all like the gal at the pedicure place that kind of gets in there and does some work too, you know?
Yes, so I agree. So I call it the spoonful of medicine approach.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Because, yes, I think that you should definitely be able to make it be relaxing, because I've had some, like, work done where I left so tense because they got in there too much, and, like, that's not cool.
No, I agree with that too. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And maybe we're saying the same thing, Miss Monreal, because you're absolutely right. What you really want to do is judge your clients. So when I have a client come in who says, I don't care what you do, get rid of this knot, I don't care if I scream, I kind of know that's like somebody who's like, just go for it. And when I get somebody else who's like, I like to relax, I know that they're going to want some therapeutic work probably, but they do not want to be gritting their teeth during their massage. And I totally get that. And you're absolutely right. Those are like a spoonful of medicine, a spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down kind of people. And you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
But I always think you...
Good, but sneak that therapeutic work in there in a good feeling way. You
Right.
can still get that done.
Right, right. Yeah, you still want to sneak the therapeutic work in. I'm always trying to go as deep as the client is comfortable with, whatever that means for them. Yeah, because I want to get in there and get some work done. But you're absolutely right. I agree with you. Yeah. But I guess my big speech is, and it sounds like Miss Monreal and I are on the same page, my big speech is don't kid yourself when somebody just tells you, oh, that was relaxing, it was nice. You don't want to hear your massage was nice. You want people to be like, oh my God. Oh my God, that was amazing. Nobody's ever done, oh my God. Yeah. You don't want to upset them and hurt them either, I got that, but you definitely want something different. Anybody can rub lotion on them. Anybody? There's no difference between one person and another. Miss Cooper, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I got a pedicure the other day, and I was like, wow, people in my class could do a better massage than this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you did not enjoy the foot rub, right? And
Right, yeah.
it didn't hurt you, did it? It was just lame.
It was fine. I was like, this is fine. This
Oh
is
my God.
okay.
I would hate to go on a date with somebody or give a massage to somebody or teach a class where you guys describe me as just fine. Oh my God. I'd rather say people say he was horrible than fine. Fine is like the kiss of death. Yeah. So fine is not somebody you request next time.
I hate that.
You cut out a little bit there.
I just laughed.
Good. Okay. Thank you for sharing. So all of this, what Miss Monreal talked about, Miss Cooper talked about, and stuff like that, by the way, all ties into knowing your client. Because now we're going to talk about reflexology. Yeah? Do we need like a 5-minute break before we do that? Just to take it easy? Miss Yanez says yes, and we all know she's actually in charge of the class. So we're doing it. Do we need 5 minutes or 10 minutes, Miss Yanez? Yeah? Miss Stanley says 10 minutes. We're taking 10 minutes, everybody. I'll see you at 9:14. Thank you very much. this one. Oh. Oh my God. Stand. Oh, you'll be okay. Cool.
I'm trying to put together this little brick house for my brother right now. That's 3 and up, and I'm losing my mind. I'm like this is so hard.
Is it a Lego house?
No,
Oh.
it's like blocks, and there's like instructions.
Yeah, it may not be your forte. Some people are really good at kind of three-dimensional stuff, and other people are not.
Well, the directions just suck. And it's
Oh.
really, I think they stink. And I'll still be listening while I do it because it's actually better for me to be doing something else while I'm listening because it helps me focus.
Yeah, lots of people are like that. I agree with that.
I just
Yeah.
wanted to tell you, I'm losing my mind.
All right, well, now we know. If you start throwing stuff, we know what's going on. All right, everybody, is everybody back? I just had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and I am raring to go. Let's see. All right, so. Oh, gosh, I've been recording this whole time. That means there's a 10-minute lapse in the recording. Okay. Oh, well. Okay, so let's talk about reflexology. It is extremely important to know your client in reflexology. I'm going to explain what I mean by that. Okay, let's go back. Why? Sorry, everybody. Who can tell me if reflexology is a fact, fiction, religion, science? Miss Monreal, what's the correct answer?
I think it's a theory.
A theory? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that there are things in the feet and hands and other places that affect other places, but in the past when I've looked up reflexology charts, they're all different. So how is it, who came up with that if you push on this, it's going to affect this, but then someone else came up with some different chart that says, no, that goes to this. They're all generally, pretty close somewhat, but I just find that there's so many inconsistencies. But I do believe that working on the feet is going to benefit someone's body altogether.
Okay.
Or your hands or whatever. Anyway, did that answer whatever your question was as far as my opinion?
Yeah, you gave me your
I think
opinion.
it's just a theory.
You think it's a theory? Okay.
I don't think it's necessarily been, I'm not discrediting it, I'm just saying, what is the real thing that you actually go off of? I don't know.
I gotcha.
I should have not answered.
You're saying the charts varying from one another doesn't help. Yeah.
Yes, but I do agree with the concept. I do, yeah.
You do agree that there's probably some reflex connection to other parts of the body.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, I just don't know what to go by.
Okay. Miss Stanley, what were you going to say?
Can you repeat the options again, though?
Fact, fiction, science, religion.
Okay, yeah, that's it. So, I feel like the answer would be kind of all of the above, and it just depends on the type of person you are and how you see things.
Oh. Okay, so it depends on the individual. I like that answer too. Miss Hunter, what do you have to add?
Hello. So I agree with Monreal. I think that it is kind of a theory. However, well, not however. Part of it is because it's a theory and almost all of the foot charts are slightly different. It reminds me of religion, whereas in religion, it's almost the same concept as maybe religion studies, but slightly different. So I want to say a can be maybe I'm just pretty.
You're cut out right there at the end.
Well, I did like Miss Hunter's,
Agreeing with you?
whatever, analogy. No. No, her example, that's so true. Like religion, it's got the same basic foundation, but everybody has variations.
Interesting.
Right.
Yeah, well put. Thank you, by the way, for highlighting that, Miss Monreal, and thank you for saying that, Miss Hunter. Miss Petrie, your hand raised. Do you have something to say?
Well, this woman, Eunice D. Ingram, I would really like to see her book, Stories the Feet Can Tell. Because this woman, I'll tell you what, she really did her homework.
And why do you say she did her homework?
All the years that she has been studying the feet and getting it down to what she says the exact science of what each art means, that's the book I'm gonna read.
Okay, I like that. She is
So,
responsible.
I'm interested in what because she's the original.
She is responsible for modern day reflexology, modern day Western reflexology. You're absolutely right. She's responsible. Yeah.
Right.
So you're saying
So, I mean, even though that this has been going, that reflexology has been going on, I mean, for how many years did they say? Over 500 or 50, what is it, 5,000?
5,000.
5,000 years? Like what?
We'll work on your numbers later, Miss Petrie.
Yeah. But I mean, Egypt, China, and Japan. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's got on something, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely something to this.
Yeah. Cool. Hold on. Miss Cooper,
Oh, okay.
you were going to say something?
I was just gonna say it's like a religion because it's not technically proven, but there's people who rally around it and swear by it and claim that it's real and
Cool.
yeah.
Okay. I like that. Miss Monreal, you were going to say something more?
Yes, and sometimes I'll let you guys look at me. Other times I won't. It's what you behave. So don't anger me. I'm just kidding. No. Well, it's as Ms. Petrie brought up the lady, I think it was Ingrid. I don't know. I don't remember names a lot. Especially in her years of practice, something you said at the beginning of our course, Mr. Tapscott, stuck out to me that if someone rubbed people long enough, they're going to figure it out on their own. You know,
Oh, yeah.
all these tricks and tips and the body and everything. So I do really appreciate like people's, life experience and their knowledge. But then there is that other side of me that, okay, can you scientifically prove this? Now that doesn't discredit anything. So when you ask, like, is this fact? Is it whatever? And I'm like, okay, well, can you put somebody on some medical equipment and prove that what you did actually did that? That's what makes something somewhat of a fact for me. Like, what evidence can you show? Now, I'm not discrediting any of that because there's so many things, even massage in itself, that improves other things, but somebody might think that it's a load of crap. I really don't care. I guess I just didn't know how to answer your question, and I still don't know. I was just adding my 2 cents.
I love it. Well, it's 4 cents now. It's 4 cents. That's good. We'll take it. Miss Petrie, you have your hand raised. Is that again, or is that still?
No.
No. Okay. Anybody else want to comment? Okay. All right. So here's the truth from the expert. I have no idea. I have no idea. But what I will tell you is reflexology is a highly charged subject. And this is why you need to know your client. So it can be highly charged in various ways. I've definitely, by the way, rubbed people's feet in areas that are supposed to be attached to certain parts of their body and had them get relief in those parts of their body. I have seen evidence of it. I don't know if I'm a super strong believer in reflexology. I don't know if I'm not. I often think, by the way, things work, but we're wrong for the reasons they work. Like, we just don't have it all figured out. Who knows? But what I can tell you as somebody who has to sell my art of massage, you need to be very careful with your clients when it comes to reflexology. And here's what I mean. Reflexology is a little mystical. And if somebody is very religiously conservative, I've actually had clients tell me that don't do reflexology to me, that's black magic to them. And I've had people tell me that. That's insulting to them. So if you come in the room and you're holding your crystals and they feel like that is kind of woo-woo magical and it's literally against their religion, that's very upsetting to them, and that's legitimate. I've also had people tell me, you know, I came here for a sports massage and reflexology is a bunch of hoo-ha and I don't care, and that's baloney, right? I've also had people walk in and be like, reflexology changed my life, don't touch anything but my feet. Like, that's everything. So what I'm really cautioning you is what this whole discussion's been around. Find out who your client is and make sure you talk to them. I'm not talking about lie to them. Talk to them in a language they understand. If you come in your jogging suit with your jogging shoes on, I'm going to talk to you about the structural benefits of working on your feet to make you a better jogger. If you come in and you've got crystals hanging around your neck and you smell like patchouli, I'm going to talk to you about reflexology and about how the connections, you know, discharge energy in other parts of your body. So just make sure you understand your client when it comes to reflexology. So why does reflexology seem to work on some people? Here are some ideas why it might work. Your ankle and your feet contain something like 34 joints down in that little area. And all those joints are extremely important to your upper body health. Remember, we talked about the foundation of the body kind of stuff. That's a lot of places to get messed up and a lot of places to make better. There is extremely extensive nerve distribution on the bottom of your feet. And just working that can actually send better signals to your brain. If anybody's ever having a colicky baby, one of the tricks you sometimes use is you take a bristle hairbrush and you roll it gently across their feet, and it helps them feel less pain. And the reason that works is the bristles have hundreds of bristles hitting them, and your brain can only process so much information at once. And so if I have just the signal of pain coming to my brain, that's all I feel, that's a big deal. But if I have all these other signals coming, now this one doesn't seem as important. Just like if we were all talking at once right now, it'd be harder to hear me. And so nerve distribution is important. Remember your lymphatic system? Who can tell me what the lymphatic system is in simple terms? Anybody?
It takes the garbage out of your body.
Thank you. That was great. Super simple. It takes the garbage out of your body. It helps pick up leftover blood and junk that's left over in your interstitial areas between your cells that your veins can't pick up. It picks it up, cleans it up, and dumps it back in your heart. That's your lymphatic system. The lymphatic system is a low pressure system. It doesn't have a lot of suck to get stuff back up in your heart. Where do you suppose most of your lymph pools?
Your feet?
Yeah, your feet, because of gravity. So getting your lymph moving again, lymphatic massage is a big deal, could really help you. Foot position. Your feet send postural information to your head. You get very detailed. You don't think about it because it's all done automatically for you. You couldn't pay attention to class and chew gum and walk at the same time if you had to think about it. But your feet send thousands of signals to your brain about how you're standing and how you should stand. And rubbing them helps reset the nerves down there so that you send correct postural information to your brain. That can make a huge difference. These are all reasons reflexology might work. Meridians. Meridians. In Asian forms of massage, there's the belief that energy runs through your body in these rivers that are like meridians or send lines that run through your body, and they have corresponding points on your feet, and pressing those points affect other areas in your body. And that's right from things like Chinese medicine, Indian medicine, 5,000 years old. There's something called zone theory. Zone theory is the belief that, like, if you work this side of my body, you should work it all the way down. That you work in zones. It's based on meridian therapy, by the way. But it also makes sense, too. Like, if I'm having problems with the left side of my body, I probably should work it all the way down because that's how I stand. That's where the weight goes on my left side of my body. So that's not such a crazy idea. Fascial connections. We don't think about it, but all the fascia running down your legs, it ties in the bottom of your feet. That's how you stand. You've got all these fascial connections down there. And by the way, fascia is living tissue in your body that changes structure depending on your activities over time. It has nerves in them that send responses back to your brain. It is a living thing in your body, and fascial connections are down there. Tapscott's favorite, right? It's the foundation to your entire body. Maybe reflexology is working off meridians, but maybe it's just working because it's the foundation of your entire body and people get dramatically better when you work their feet. There was a very famous golfer who was having back problems for a very long time and had lots of people work on him. They couldn't figure it out, and some guy came in and said, "It's your feet." Worked on his feet, and like a day later, he was fine. I mean, it was a dramatic thing. And lastly, do not forget this, it feels good. Please, thank you for nodding, Ms. Jonas, because when people feel better, they get better. We know that depression and physical health go hand in hand together. We're not even sure which one causes the other. But we know that when you feel happier, you tend to get sick less. We know those things are tied together. So don't underestimate just the fact that it feels good. But I'm going to emphasize different things to a client depending on where they're at with reflexology, what they're into, right? So reflexology, though, is the belief that certain points on my feet correspond to other parts of my body, and rubbing those points on my feet can make those other parts of my body better. And Miss Monreal is right that different charts show slightly different points on the feet. I love that. Why do I love that? Because I don't have to memorize tiny little points in the feet. I can always say it's that general area. So I'm about to save you hours and hours and hours of memorizing points. And I will do it in 1 minute. This is the reflexology chart I essentially use in my head. I don't know if this is going to work. I can't get them up here. In reflexology, I was trying to get the skeleton's feet up here. In reflexology, if these were my feet, I'd have very funny feet, but if these were my feet, reflexology, your left foot is your left side of your body, your right foot is your right side of your body. And it's just like this picture. Your big toe is your head. Your left big toe is the left side of your head. Your right big toe is the right side of your head, which means the neck of your toe is your neck. Means the inner part of your feet are your spine. Means your heel really is your intestinal area. Means your lungs really are where the balls of your feet are. It's true on every chart. They might argue about it being like a little bit off or whatever, exactly what Miss Monreal was talking about. But if you're working on somebody's big toe, you're working on their head. Always. If you're working on their heel, you're working on their intestinal area. If you're working on the inside of their feet, you're working on their spine. If you're working on the outside of their feet, up kind of by the little toes, you're working on their shoulders. True every time. Super big help. Because if you look at reflexology charts, they're confusing. But look at this chart for a second. Where's the brain? It's on the big toe. The pituitary gland. Do you guys remember the pituitary gland? It's the growth gland from the endocrine system. It's found inside your brain. Where is it on this chart? On the big toe. Because your brain's on your head. Where's the neck? In the cervical region. Base of the big toe. Where's the spine? It's running down the inside of the feet because they come together and make a body. Inside the feet. Sacrum is at the bottom, down by the heel. This chart shows the intestines up a little bit higher than some other charts show, but you still see the general breakdown.
So I have a question.
Yes, Ms. Torres.
Okay, so I don't know nothing about this, okay? So that's
Right.
why I don't know if it's gonna sound stupid, but I
It
don't know.
won't.
So when you work on those areas as part of the body, do you use different pressure for different parts of the body in the on the feet?
Wow.
Or you
Yeah.
like you would use like you know what I'm saying? I don't know if you know what I'm saying.
I think I know what you're
Would
saying.
you massage-
It definitely was not a stupid question. No, for me personally, I tend to still gauge my massage on what the client can handle. So I tend to go deep to their comfort level, regardless of what I'm trying to accomplish in my reflexology. And
So it's for you. It's just a massage.
it
It's
is.
not like okay, your lungs need something, so we're just gonna do a type of pressure, or we're gonna treat it as a trigger point.
I might work that area because it's your lungs, but I'm going to work it to the depth that I think I'd be working that area because I don't know if, I don't know why reflexology works. So I'm still going to do kind of a massage approach. Where Ms. Torres is talking about, some people that are real traditional reflexologists, they just kind of work that area, kind of like it's a button to push. No, I'll work that area and massage it. Like, I don't really see a difference between the two. That's me, though.
Oh, okay.
That's me.
But do you know if that's what they do, or
They tend to try to do like a lot of reflexologists will do. They're still deep. Most reflexologists do deep, but they tend to do deep clockwise motions for things they want to stimulate and counterclockwise for things they don't want to stimulate. They want to kind of back off on. Most reflexologists, though, they do a deep, what's called an inchworm effect, where they just go very slowly and hit every single little spot. And I honestly think it's one of the reasons reflexology is so well loved, is because it's highly detailed. They don't gloss over the foot at all. They kind of get every little spot on the foot. I honestly think one of the reasons reflexology is so popular and people think it works, and by the way, it really might work because of meridians or whatever, I don't know. But also, it's just spending the proper amount of time on the feet. People that get reflexology are often doing a half an hour to an hour just on their feet.
yeah.
Yep.
One of the ladies that I massaged when we did our externship, that's all she focused on. She was doing it for about 15 years.
Yep.
So she's like, I had clients that only want their feet done.
Yeah.
Like they have trouble, like with their back or whatever. They got so many massages and nothing really worked until they came with her, and she just started doing reflexology on them, and that's what they do now.
Yeah.
For years. That's what they've been doing for years. Only their feet.
Yeah.
Only their feet.
Yeah, I would say, regardless of where anybody in this class stands on reflexology, you should be able to do an hour-long foot rub on somebody. You should get used to doing that kind of detail. Because people that like their feet rubbed, like them rubbed a lot. And it's a moneymaker. It's a moneymaker because I can say, next time for your hour-long massage, maybe we should tack on 30 minutes of reflexology. That's now a 90-minute massage. And I get to go to the end of the table and sit down and work on your feet. That's a nice break for me. And tack another $50 onto your massage. Like, it's worth it. Feet have some other advantages too. While some people don't want their feet touched, other people, it's one of the safest areas of their body to touch, right? So I used to have a lady who would come in from New York, by the way, not just to see me, but it was a big part of her trip. And also I would work was her feet, hands, head, and neck. She had a lot of body conscious issues. She was extremely, extremely overweight. And she loved, though, we would spend 2 hours working feet, hands, head, and neck. It's not a lot of area. But it didn't feel invasive to her. It wasn't embarrassing to her. And she loved, loved, loved it. So I also like reflexology because it gives me a safe way to touch somebody who's feeling weird, self-conscious about being touched. So it's got all sorts of really neat advantages. And by the way, there's all sorts of miraculous things that seem to happen. And Miss Petrie very astutely pointed out Miss Ingram, who kind of wrote the book on reflexology. And you can spin that story two different ways. I don't know what the truth is. And maybe the truth is a third thing that I haven't even thought of. But the one hand is you can say, this lady studied all this stuff. She mapped out all these points. She's really figured out this thing. But she did this fairly recently. Right? This was less than 100 years ago. And then other people come along and they say, well, reflexology has been around for 5,000 years. That's not really true. Rubbing people's feet has been around for 5,000 years, but the concept that Ingram's talking about has not been around 5,000 years, it's been around 100 years, so you can't have it both ways. You got to be kind of careful what you're saying there, and they'll always show you a picture of Egyptians rubbing each other's feet in hieroglyphics and stuff like that and say, that's evidence of reflexology being around 5,000 years. No, that's evidence of people rubbing each other's feet 5,000 years ago. Nobody has a map there with the intestines down on the heel and the head thing up by the toe. Baloney. Now, in Chinese medicine that has been around about 5,000 years, we do know that there are, they do believe, I shouldn't say we know, I don't know, they believe that there really are connection points. They don't agree with the connection points we've got where the head is the toe and all that kind of stuff, but they agree there's these kind of connection points throughout your body. So the idea has kind of been around, but it's all over the place. So did Miss Ingram really find this thing? Or is she really stretching ideas really far? Who knows? I don't know. But I can tell you it is super popular. The reason we talk about reflexology here is it's super. I can't imagine being a massage therapist and not knowing what reflexology is and being able to kind of do a reflexology massage, which is nothing more than doing a massage and kind of knowing where these points are, which allows you to add a half an hour onto every massage you've got. And when you're an esthetician, it allows you to put a half an hour onto your facials while the mask is resting and run up the bill. And by the way, you're running up the bill in a good way. The clients leave happier. I don't mean like you're wasting their time. And you're definitely really helping them. Feet health is really, really important. I mean, think about what you do to your feet. My feet carries my body around, right? 225 pounds or whatever it is. It's over 200 pounds. It's carrying around. I'm stomping on them all day long. They deserve the massage. They really do. Thoughts, questions so far? Ms. Cooper, you still have your hand up, but I'm assuming it's just left over because you are focused on the log cabin. Ms. Petrie, you put your hand back up.
I can't find anybody who does reflexology. I can't find anybody who does reflexology. I've looked up reflexology on places to go for reflexology. They just rub my feet.
Oh.
They don't actually tell me anything. They don't actually do reflexology. I can't find a single person who actually does reflexology. And all they do is rub my feet. I'm like, well, I can do that.
Well, you guys should practice today in lab.
I can rub my own feet.
And by the way, the difference between reflexology and massage is this is massage, this is reflexology, digging in to those spots. You're trying to stimulate those spots. So reflexology, to me, this is why I don't get it. Reflexology to me is what your foot massage should be like anyway. It should not be surface. Reflexology is getting in there into those spots. Yeah, I'm shocked you can't find somebody, but you guys can all become reflexologists today if you practice this in the lab. This is about paying attention to detail and going in deep to each of these spots. Now let's talk about what happens when you rub somebody in the arch of their foot there and they go, wow, that really hurts. What spot is that? And you go, well, this is the general area of your intestines. I always say general area because you can argue it depending on what chart you're looking at. And they go, oh my God, does that mean I have intestine problems? Because that really hurts down there. Do I have intestine problems? Well, do they? What should I tell them?
Maybe you could tell
You
them.
say, I don't know, do you?
What was that, Miss Giannis?
You should say, I don't know, do you? And they say yes or no.
I love that answer. I don't know, do you? Yes, that's a good answer right there. What were you going to say, Miss Monreal?
Maybe you could say, I'm not quite sure. I just noticed that there's something there. Maybe you could be more mindful to notice if you're having any discomfort or any issues.
Beautiful. Both beautiful answers. Yeah, that's essentially what I do. What I usually do is I say, well, if reflexology is true and correct, whatever, it could be a sign that you've got some blockage, some problems, with your intestines, things like that. But I always tell them this too, even people that are into reflexology, I go, you might also have really tight arch support muscles. And I do that to kind of even out the information, because it's true. I don't know. Is it your arch support muscles are tight because you've got intestinal problems? Or do you have intestinal problems because your arch support muscles are tight? Or do you just have tight arch support muscles? You just have tight problems with your intestines? I don't know. So problems with the feet don't mean you've got cancer and it's all over kind of thing. And people do get worried. They really do. They're like, what does that mean? Where's that spot? Why does that hurt? And it's like, well, it might just hurt because your foot hurts there. So don't panic. Don't panic. But if it lines up with other stuff where you're like, oh, I've been having lots of intestinal problems, well, that's information for you, I guess. Yes, Miss Monreal.
If you're rubbing somebody's feet and then they start having a cramp in their calf, why is that?
I don't know. I have a theory on that. I'm not positive. I think they're tensing up their calves. So I think people sometimes get cramps. For all sorts. By the way, there's all sorts of reasons for cramping, like dehydration, all sorts of stuff, low potassium. But the other thing is, I think just like we clench our teeth sometimes when we're stressed, I think sometimes people tense up certain areas when they're trying to relax or they're over concentrating or you're hurting them a little bit in a spot where you're digging through, and then that area kind of cramps up.
Okay.
Maybe you're hitting a nerve too that affects their calf, but I think that's what happens. In general, Cool. All right, let's